folklore from Indonesia. Listen and focus. The story of Malin Kundang, the child of disobedience. West Sumatra, Indonesia. In ancient times, in the fishing village of Air Manis Beach in the Padang area, West Sumatra, there lived a widow named Manrubaya, with a son named Malin Kundang. Manrubaya really loved and spoiled Malin Kundang. Malin was a diligent and obedient child. Manrubaya is old, she can only work as a cake seller to provide for herself and her only child. One day, Malin fell ill. He was very sick. His life was almost lost, but in the end, he was saved thanks to his mother's hard work. After recovering from his illness, he was loved even more. They are mother and son who love each other. Now Malin was an adult. He asked his mother's permission to go abroad to the city, because at that time there was a large ship docked at Air Manis Beach. Don't, Malin, I'm afraid something will happen to you in the overseas lands. Just stay here, accompany mother, said his mother sadly after hearing Malin's wish to wander. Mother, calm down, nothing will happen to me, said Malin, holding his mother's hand. This is an opportunity, ma'am, because it is not certain that once a year a large ship docks at this beach. I want to change our destiny, ma'am. Please allow it, Malin pleaded. All right, I'll let you. Come back soon. I'll always be waiting for you, son, said his mother, crying, although with a heavy heart. Manrubaya finally allowed her son to go. Then Malin was provided with 7 packs of rice wrapped in banana leaves for your provisions on the trip, she said while handing it over to Malin. After that, Malin Kundang left for overseas, leaving his mother alone. The days continued to pass, days that seemed slow to Manrubaya. Every morning and evening Manrubaya looks out to sea. Where have you sailed, son? She asked herself while still looking at the sea. She always prays for her son to always be safe and return quickly. Sometime later, if a ship came to dock, she always asked news about her son. Have you seen my son, Malin? Is he okay? When is he coming home? She asked. But every time she asked the crew or the captain, she never got an answer. Malin never left any goods or messages with his mother. For years, Manrubaya kept asking questions, but never got an answer until her body got older. Now she is starting to slouch. One day, Manrubaya received news from the captain, who had brought Malin. The captain gave happy news to Manrubaya. Man, do you know your son has now married a beautiful girl, the daughter of a very wealthy nobleman, he said at the time. Malin, hurry up and come home, son. Mother is old, Malin. When are you coming home? She groaned miserably every night. She was sure her son would come. Sure enough, not long after. One sunny day, from a distance, a magnificent and beautiful ship was seen sailing towards the beach. Villagers gathered, they thought. The ship belonged to a sultan or a prince. They greeted him happily. Manrubayo was very happy to hear that. She always prayed that her child would be safe and would come back to visit her soon. The light of joy began to come back to her. But for months since she received news of Malin from the captain, Malin never returned to see her. When the ship began to dock, a pair of young people were seen standing on the bridge. Their clothes shimmered in the sun. Their faces were brightly decorated with smiles, because they were happy to be greeted with great fanfare. Manrubaya also jostled close to the ship. Her heart pounded hard when she saw the young man on the ship. She was very sure that the young man was her son, Malin Kunding. Before the village elders had time to welcome, Malin's mother approached Malin first. She immediately hugged him tightly. She was afraid of losing her child again. Malin, my son. You're really my son, right? She said, holding back sobs with joy. Why did you not give news for so long? Malin was shocked because he was hugged by the old woman who was dressed in rags. He couldn't believe that the woman was his mother. Before he could think of speaking, his beautiful wife spat and said, "Is this ugly woman your mother? Why did you lie to me in the first place?" She said sarcastically, "Didn't you say before that your mother was a noble equal to me?" Hearing his wife's scathing words, Malin Kunding immediately pushed his mother to the ground. "Crazy woman. I'm not your son," he said harshly. Manrubaya did not believe in her son's behavior. She sat down and said, "Malin, Malin, my son. I am your mother, son. Why are you being like this kid?" Malin Kunding ignored his mother's words. He will not acknowledge his mother. He was ashamed of his wife, seeing that the woman was inching to hug her legs. Malin kicked her and said, "Hey, crazy woman. My mother is not like you, destitute and dirty." The old woman lay on the sand, crying and hurt. The people who saw him were stunned and then went home. Manrubaya fainted and lay alone. When she realized Manis Beach was deserted, she saw Malin's ship getting away. She didn't think that Malin, who used to be loved, could do that. Her heart ached and hurt. Then her hands stretched out to the sky. She then prayed with a sad heart, "Oh God, if he is not my son, I forgive what he did earlier. But if he really is my son named Malin Kunding, I beg your justice, oh God," she said sadly while crying. Not long after, the weather in the middle of the sea, which was sunny, suddenly turned dark. The rain suddenly fell very heavily. Suddenly a big storm came, hitting Malin Kunding's ship. A thunderous bolt of lightning. At that time the ship was destroyed to pieces, then carried by the waves to the beach. The next day, when the morning sun appeared, on the eastern horizon, the storm had subsided. At the foot of the hill you can see pieces of ships that have turned to stone. That's Malin Kundang's ship. Looks like a rock that resembles a human body. That was the body of Malin Kundang, the son of an ungodly son who was cursed by his mother to turn into stone because he was disobedient. Between the rocks swim anchovies, mullet, and mackerel. That said, the fish came from the body of the wife who kept looking for Malin Kundang. Until now, when big waves hit the rocks that look like ships and people, it sounds like howling human screams. Sometimes it sounds like people are wailing regretfully. Oh my God. Oh my. It is said that was the voice of Malin Kundang, a son who was disobedient to his mother.